Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today my video is about buying a home in Sedona, what you're going to need to know first. So if you're even thinking about buying a home here in Sedona, whether it be for your primary residence, a vacation home, or even an investment property, you're going to want to watch this video because I have some valuable information that'll help make the process smoother and will help you from making a big mistake. So stay tuned. Welcome to the Living in Northern Arizona YouTube channel. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is the place that you'll come to find out what it's like to live, work, eat, sleep, and play here in the northern half of the state of Arizona. Please do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button because that'll help other people who are looking for this type of information to find the video and to find the channel. Also, if you'd hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, that will let you know every time I upload another video to the channel. It'll give you valuable information about living in Northern Arizona. My name is Dawn Dickinson. I live here in Sedona, Arizona. I sell real estate in the northern half of the state, which would be typically Sedona, Verde Valley, Flagstaff, Prescott, and Payson. I have people calling me every single day to find out they ask questions about what it's like to live here. Some of them just want to work with me. Some of them are ready to go and want to buy a house right now. And you can do that too. If you want, just give me a call, an email, or a text. My contact information is always in the description below. And if you want to, you can just go to my calendar in the description and set up an appointment to do a Zoom call or a phone call. And then we can have a conversation and find out if that is right for you, if moving to Northern Arizona is the right thing for you. But whatever it is, if you're thinking of moving to the northern half of the state, come back to the channel and here's where you're going to learn everything you're going to need to know. So one of the first things you're going to want to ask yourself is, do you want a brand new home or do you want to buy one of the existing homes here in Sedona? And when it comes to brand new homes, there are not a lot of choices. Right now we only have Miramonte Homes, who is building phase 2 of Park Place in West Sedona. Now just recently phase 1 sold out. Phase 2 again is beautiful luxury townhomes. Right now they are starting in the low $700,000. Now last year in my library list, if you look for a video titled "Can I Buy a New Home in Sedona?" I have an entire video on Miramonte Homes and the townhomes that were being built in phase 1. So you get a good idea of what the construction is like, what the townhomes look like, and that'll give you an idea if you like Park Place phase 2. Now another thing that you could consider if you want a brand new home is about 2-3 years ago in 2019, there were a few home builders that went out and just bought all of the vacant lots for sale in Sedona. And I know one of them was Morgan Taylor Homes, but there were a couple of others where every year they build 3, 4, 5 spec homes, and then as they are completed they put them on the MLS and they sell those off. Often you can see those on the MLS. Sometimes they go very fast, but that's a good way for you to get a single family home just sporadically located here in the village, West Sedona, or even in Uptown. So you can get a brand new home that way. But other than that, it's difficult to get a brand new home and you're probably going to end up buying an existing home. Now, if you're thinking of buying an existing home, the first thing you're going to want to know is where you're going to want to be. What neighborhood are you going to want to live in? And if you go back into my library, I have a video, the top 5 neighborhoods of Sedona, where I detail the main areas of Sedona that you might want to buy a house. But just let me briefly tell you, you're going to either be in West Sedona, Uptown, Village of Oak Creek. There's the Red Rock Loop, which is kind of the rural area. Also a tiny little neighborhood by the chapel, and Oak Creek Canyon. So those are the main Sedona neighborhoods. You're going to probably want to buy in one of those areas. Of course, if you go out of town towards Jack's Canyon or out towards Verde Valley School Road, or even out towards Cottonwood, there are more rural subdivisions. But if you find that video, those are probably the main 5 neighborhoods you're going to want to buy a home. So take a look at that and decide what areas you like, and then as you see existing homes come on the market, you'll have an idea of where they are and if it's a place that you would want to live. Okay, the next thing you want to know is, do you want to be in a house that is in an HOA or is not in an HOA? And the reason that it's very important here in Sedona is the HOAs are the only way to restrict the short-term rentals, the VRBO, the Airbnb. So if you're living here and this is going to be your primary home, you're probably going to want to be in an HOA where they don't allow the short-term rentals, because it's kind of tough when you're living here, especially if you have a family and the next door is an Airbnb and there's a different bunch of people every single weekend. They're often having big parties, and it's kind of disrupted towards the neighborhoods. And I know a lot of the neighborhoods that are no rules, no HOAs, the locals complain because, you know, it'll start out as a family neighborhood, and then one by one houses are being sold off and they're being converted to Airbnb. Some of them will say, you know, hey, there's only 2 people now that live in my block that live here, and people that have lived there their whole lives are actually up and selling because the neighborhoods have converted to short-term rentals, and it's just not a place that you want to live. Now, if it's your vacation home, you might not care. And of course, if you're an investor, that's probably what you are looking for, is a house in a neighborhood where there's no HOA, because you may want to rent it out, or you might want to use it as a short-term rental. But that is a primary consideration, HOA or no HOA. Now, when you do find an HOA, some of them are more restrictive than others. I, for instance, am in Village of Oak Creek. We have the VOCA, Village of Oak Creek Association. Not that intrusive. I think I pay $210 a year, so the fee is low. Basically, they're only there to enforce the rules, and if you get in a dispute with the neighbor, they can set in and resolve that. Other HOAs are more controlling. Some of them will have rules on, you know, 6-month only rentals, 6-month or more rentals, rules on where you can park your cars, that kind of thing. So it depends on what you're comfortable with. Always read the CC&Rs before you're going to buy a home. The fees can be very low, like I say here in Village of Oak Creek, only $210 a year. Other HOAs, of course, some of those with the townhomes, right? Those are going to be more, might be, you know, $700, $800 to $1,000 a month. Now, again, in the townhomes, in the condos, your HOAs fees are going to be higher because they're doing the maintenance. You know, they're maintaining the pool, they're taking care of the lawn. Some of them will do the roof, any of the exterior maintenance, maybe pest control, painting. So when you're in one of those communities, usually a townhome, you know, the HOA is high, but you don't have to do anything. And if there's a leak in your roof, you call them and they come and fix it for you. So that's actually ideal if you're older and don't want to deal with the stuff, or if you have a vacation home and you're only here 6 months out of the year. You don't have to worry about it when you're out of town. So HOA versus non-HOA, very important when you're moving here to Sedona. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to think about if you want to buy a home here in Sedona is, what kind of house do you want? Single family home, townhouse, condo, or do you want a manufactured home? Now, single family homes right now, they've gotten very expensive, but then a market fluctuates. If you're watching this a year from now, prices could be different. Very difficult to buy a single family home in Sedona right now for less than $700,000. Not impossible. If you get a smaller home or an older home, you might find something in that price range, but keep in mind, you're likely to spend $700,000, $800,000 or more if you want a single family home with a yard in a nice area here in Sedona. There's also many very nice townhomes. Those are very popular because, like I say, you've got an HOA doing a lot of your maintenance and you don't have to worry about the lawn. You could have a community pool, which is very nice, and the roof, the paint, that kind of stuff, they do a lot of the times. And so a townhouse could be a nice choice for you. And a lot of the townhomes, man, they are spectacular. Some of them have amazing views that you might not get in the single family house, and some of them are large, just as big as a single family house. So you've got a lot of variety. There are quite a few townhomes and condos here in Sedona. And then your last choice would be a manufactured home. Now, you've got 2 choices here with the manufactured homes. One is, do you want a manufactured home on its own land? Now, in Sedona, there are probably 3 areas that I can think of where you can buy a manufactured home on its own land. One is, there's a little neighborhood in Village of Oak Creek out towards Jack's Canyon. That's probably the least expensive place you'll find a manufactured home on the land. The second is way out, and I can't remember if it's Sunset Village, but it's out in West Sedona. It's actually odd because there's a park where you rent the lot, and then right next to it is, both of these are 55 plus communities. The spot where you own the manufactured home on its land, in that area of West Sedona, you have both. And right now, the ones on their own land are selling for, you know, $400,000 to $500,000, which seems like a lot, but that's what they're going for on their own land. Also in Harmony Hills, there's a lot of very nice non-age restricted. And like I say, the Village of Oak Creek ones are non-age restricted also, but in Harmony Hills, there are quite a, it's like the original the original Sedona development, where you have nice double wide or single wide on its own lot in primo West Sedona territory. A lot of them are right up to the Red Rocks. Again, those are going for very high though, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 for a beautiful manufactured home on its own lot. And yes, I know that's high. You can put in the comments how terrible that is, but that's just how much they are going for right now in mid 2022. Now, again, with the parks, there are two areas. There's Sedona Shadows, and then the one way out in West Sedona, the Sunset Hills. I get the park names confused. I'm sorry about that, but there are two of them where you own the manufactured home and then you rent the lot that it sits on. The nice thing about that is it's in a community where there's lots of activities going on. The problem, of course, is the lot fee is very high. The lot fee can be anywhere in those two communities between $900 and $1,200 a month. So you're paying that every single month for the rest of time. You don't pay that off like you would in a mortgage. So that's always there. That's the very big downside. And then the other thing is now you have to buy the manufactured home, which right now they're going from, in the parks, like I said, an old single wide you might get for $70,000, and a very nice double wide newer home you might pay up to $200,000 in one of those two parks, 55 plus parks, and then you're paying the lot fee on top of that. So just think of that. Those are the types of homes you can find in the Sedona: the single family, the condo, townhomes, and the manufactured home. So you want to decide on what type of home that you would consider before you start looking here in Sedona. Okay, so the next thing to think about is, do you have kids that are going to go to school? I'm going to tell you a little bit about the schools, and I'm going to confess, when I moved to Sedona, my kids were grown and out of school, so it wasn't a consideration for me. And then a lot of people that live here are older and don't have kids, but there are kids. There are 5 public schools in Sedona, and there are about 915-ish kids enrolled in the school. So there's not a lot of schools and there are not a lot of kids, and most of the schools are in West Sedona. But I have seen in my neighborhood here in the village, I've seen the yellow school bus go by, and there are kids in my neighborhood because I live in the working class neighborhood of Sedona. So there are kids here. I've seen the school bus, but I don't know what school they're going to. But let me tell you about the public schools here in Sedona. So first there is the Sedona Oak Creek Unified School District. That's over by the Red Rock Loop. That is K through 8. The nice thing is that the student-teacher ratio is favorable. You've got about 16 students to every 1 teacher, so that is nice. Again, that school, and the bulk of the schools are in the Sedona Red Rock Loop, which is on the far west side of Sedona, and K through 8 on the Sedona Oak Creek Unified School District. Now, the Sedona Charter School, that school is a top-ranked school. That is the top-ranked school in Sedona. That ranks 7 out of 10. So it's in the top 50% of Arizona public schools. That is K through 8. It's very small, though. I think there are only about 70 students. And that is on the west side of Sedona, off of Dry Creek Road, kind of over by the library. So Sedona Charter School, if you can get your kid in there, that's probably the best academic program for the kids. Now, there's also Sedona Red Rock Junior and Senior High School. That's grades 7 through 12. There's about 435-ish kids in that school. It's over again on the Red Rock Loop. Beautiful, huge school. I'm going to show you some video of the school. Nice place, a big junior high and high school. Then there's the West Sedona Elementary School. That's over by the Posse grounds. Preschool, pre-K through 6. Small school, only about 300 schools. Again, that's in West Sedona, but over on the other side, towards uptown, definitely West Sedona, over by the Posse Grounds area. I want to show you some video of that also. And then finally, there's Red Rock Academy. That's a very small school, 9 to 12th grade, in the Red Rock Loop again, and very few. I think the stat I saw was that there were only 28 kids. So if you have kids and you're thinking of moving to Sedona to live here, that's the scoop on the schools. Not that many schools and not that many kids, but there you have those, all in West Sedona, but you could still live anywhere in Sedona and go to those schools. And finally, the last thing you're going to need to know if you're looking to buy a home in Sedona is how important it is for you to find the right agent to work with. Somebody that you can click with, your personality could click with, and somebody who's knowledgeable about the area. So of course I work in Sedona, I want you to pick me, right? But there are a lot of agents here, and you can find them, Zillow, open houses, which is not my favorite way, or find somebody on YouTube where they give you information and you can kind of figure out if their style or personality is something that would click with you. And then once you find that agent, get in touch with them very quickly. I can put you on a list, even if you're not thinking of moving here for a year or so. I can put you on an email list where you'll get homes in the email that match your criteria, and then by the time you're ready to move, you'll have an idea of what houses are going for and what neighborhoods they are, and so you'll be educated by the time you start. So make sure, of course, you find an agent that you're comfortable with. That's probably the most important thing. But then the other thing is to have somebody that lives in the area and knows the area and can tell you information, if you're asking about it, that they know the area well enough to give you good advice. And also important when you have somebody that lives near the area. Right now the market is so hot, and maybe that won't be the case in a year, right? But if you have somebody that lives nearby and a brand new hot home comes on the market today, it's nice that somebody would be able to show it to you in, a day or two. Now, unfortunately, what happens to me is I'll go away for Phoenix for just like 2 days, and that's when a new house will come on the market. But, worst case scenario, I can come back. And another thing I can do that not everybody does, but I've gotten pretty good at it, is if you're out of state, and probably 80% of my buyers are out of state. So if you're not in town and something comes on the market that you like, I can go with my video camera and I can do a very good video where I just walk through the house. I'll go out in the front street. I'll do a pan of all the neighbors, and this way you can see, is there some house with junky cars next to it, or is there a place that has a lot of traffic next to it? You'll be able to see all of that in the video, because in the professional videos on the MLS, they're not going to show you anything bad. Where I'll show you the good and the bad. I'm probably more likely to talk you out of a house in the video, but this way you get the straight scoop, and then you'll know, do I want to move on it now, or do I want to just make a trip here to Sedona to see it in person after that? But if you can find an agent who's flexible and can do all that kind of stuff for you, that will make your move to Sedona much easier. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, my name is Dawn Dickinson. I live in beautiful Sedona, Arizona. If you have a question about houses, homes, or want to buy something, want to get on the list, feel free to contact me. My contact information is below, but you could also go to my calendar below and schedule a Zoom call or a phone call, and we could have a quick chat, and then you'll find out right away. You'll eliminate all doubt. Do you want to think about living here or not? So that's it. My channel, Living in Northern Arizona. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I post videos here every single week, so I hope you come back and see what I have to post for you again next week.